Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we are here at Clash Endurance Miami. Joining me, fellow Glenview/Wilmette resident,
That's
Mr.
right.
Justin Metzler joins us fresh off of a fifth place at the Waterfall Bank. Was it Couples Championship?
Yeah, the couples championship, first ever.
So fun.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, I love Super League and Clash and Couples Championship, just all the variety. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's an awesome time to be a pro, right? With Ironman, PTO, Clash, Challenge, and now you've got people like Ben Atkins and Waterfall Bank coming into the space, and I think it's really incredible for us because finally you're having people take notice that pros have value.
Yes.
And we deserve to be treated like real professional athletes, you know? So we're on a NASCAR track today, and I feel like this week we're really getting treated like, you know, those NASCAR guys and even better.
You know what I love is it's great when you get the Bahrain and 13 endurance team and PTO and things like that is all awesome. But when you get non-endemic real sponsors like a Waterfall Bank who is looking at this sport and going, this sport has a lot of age group athletes with high net worth, and these athletes are people that those folks look up to.
Sure.
And it just seems like that makes sense. And that makes more sense to me because that's a real business relationship. You think back to when running first started, every sponsor was Nike, Adidas, Reebok. Then all of a sudden John Hancock came in.
Sure.
And they looked at the people who are participating and going, we need to be involved with this.
Right.
Do you look at it the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was one of Ben's kind of like first little projects when he moved from Florida to Boulder.
And was his background triathlon?
He had done some triathlons. He's like always been a very he came from tennis before that, so he was a tennis guy. So he really followed like the ATP, and he followed kind of that model. But he's always been an athletic dude. And then he got into triathlon probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and then bought a house in Boulder. Kind of came up with this idea for the bank, and then he started studying triathlon, and he realized, wow, there's really a disconnect between what I thought a professional triathlete would earn or what that career would look like and what the facts are. And so he was just like wandering around the gym one day, and I'm just a bit of a schmoozer, so I'll talk to anyone, right? Yeah. And so he came up to me and we started having a little bit of a chat, and the next thing you know, we grabbed coffee, and he was kind of asking me, so like, how do you guys like pay your bills? What is it?
We don't.
I was like, it's really tough. Yeah, I said it's really tough. And so, he said, look, I want to change that. And I think he started with me and Jeannie, and now he's expanding to the entire Waterfall racing team. But it's going beyond that with stuff like the couples championship. And I think he wants. I don't know what the next evolution is going to be, but he's a big dreamer and a big thinker, and he's trying to change the entire professional landscape of triathlon. So it's going to be an exciting future with, I think, Waterfall Bank and Waterfall Racing at the helm of it.
I remember chatting with Jeannie, and she was talking about writing checks that she knew her bank wasn't going to be able to cover.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think people will understand because they see people standing on a podium, and they see champagne, and they see a big check, but a lot of times that big check is $1,000 or $1,500, and making a living as a professional triathlete, as you have found out, is very difficult. But it seems like in the last year, more sponsors, more awareness. I think one of the big things that's happened in our sport, it used to be if you were a surfer, you would have somebody to capture everything, videographer, photographer.
100%.
Our sport's become the same way.
100%.
Right? And you've been sort of an early adopter going, we can't just go do this stuff. We've got to share. We got to give people a backstage pass to what we're doing.
100%, yeah. And I think, I always have had some fun with the social media side of things. Yes. I think my entire career, that's always just, I'm a young guy. I'm 28. I kind of grew up in that Facebook, Instagram world.
Absolutely.
So it's a little bit second nature for me to just kind of whip out my phone and either throw up a post or give people somewhat of an inside look into my life.
Right.
And it's always just been sort of like an organic, process for me. And I think now I'm looking at it in a little bit more of a business sense.
Absolutely.
And saying, hey, there's a selling point to that. You can monetize upon that. And I think that all of the sponsors that we work with, and we've got some great, amazing partners, they value the same thing. And then it's about resource and it's about connection. So, we work with Kenny Withrow, who's a, famous, in triathlon, and he does a bunch of other stuff too, but he's exceptional and he helps us create a bunch of great content. And yeah, I think that's one of the unique aspects about triathlon is now you've got a ton of amazing content out there. I can name like 10 amazing triathlon, athlete influencers, and just gives people like a look at what the life of a pro is. And I think back to when I was a kid, right, getting into triathlon. 13, 14 years old, like I scoured the internet,
find
scoured the
anything.
books for any information. Now it's almost too much information. So it's like, okay, how do you provide information? Everyone's doing that, but make it interesting and make it compelling or whatever. So it's cool. Yeah, I think we'll see. I mean, my number one priority and my number one objective in Genies is to race well.
Well, if you I remember in the Michael Jordan's documentary, right?
Yeah.
And they were saying, listen, if I let my game tell the story.
Yeah.
If I wasn't great, if I was getting 3 points and 4 rebounds, nobody would have cared about the Nike whatever I was
100%.
doing, right? It all comes from performance.
Yeah, and I think that's where we always have come from. I think like I still like to keep it light. I like to keep it fun. I like to make my sponsors happy and make sure that their brands are featured on all of our pages and this and that. But I think when I wake up in the morning, my first thought is not like, what am I going to post on social media? It's how am I going to train to be the best?
To be the workouts.
And to nail the workouts and to try and win races like this. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
How have you changed as an athlete in this last couple of years? Because Julie Dibbins and there's been some, and for both of you guys, both you and Jeannie.
Yeah, Jeannie, she's not here this weekend. You'll have to ask her. I mean, her and I have interestingly taken very different paths. When we first got together, you're in that honeymoon phase and you're just trying to spend as much time together as possible. So you end up making a lot of the same decisions. And
Going
I think
to the same races.
Going to the same races, having the same coach, eating the same foods, having the same, strength training and recovery protocols and this and that. And over the last couple of years, we've realized that in order for us both to individually succeed, we both need to really have an individualized plan and program and daily structure and schedule and everything. So for me personally, I started working with Julie Dibbins and Matt Bottrell in conjunction with one another. Mm-hmm. Also work with Erin Carson, who's my strength coach, and she's a really big part of the plan as well. Train with incredible athletes like, Matt Hansen and Tim O'Donnell, Lauren Brandon, Dee Dee Griesbauer, like having access to great champions, Miranda Carfrey, and, those people are friends, training partners, and some of them are like mentors now.
Exactly.
So having access to that has been really, pivotal in my growth as an athlete. I think particularly over the Ironman, and I think particularly my relationship with Tim.
Yes.
That's been, it's been one of the reasons why I think I've taken a quantum leap in the last 12 to 18 months in the PTO ranking, Ironman races and Collins Cup and stuff like that. But, also the help of Waterfall.
Yes.
And their support is, without them, I don't think, I can guarantee I would not be racing at the same level I would be now.
Well, you think about it, you need your strength coach, you need your cycling coach, you need your head coach, you need your videographer. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have some bottom line expenses to be a pro besides
for sure
going out and putting the hours in.
100%.
So without that type of support from Waterfall, you can't do it.
100%. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I mean, it takes a team of people that you trust, and I feel like I'm finally another one of the reasons why Jeannie and I are starting to see some success is I feel like we're starting to build a team around us of people who we really trust and who we know have our back no matter the circumstance. And I think for us, it's, my journey in the sport has been super linear. I've just tried to get 2% better every year, and I've been doing it for 15 years. So I hope to do it another 15 more, and hopefully that's going to take me to the promised land, but I don't know. And that's my process. That's my journey, is just trying to keep on plucking away. And I'm hoping that this weekend's another kind of step in that direction, and I can build off the momentum of a really successful 2021 and start this year's campaign off on the right foot.
2021 was a big year.
It was. Yeah, it was big.
Yeah. I mean, what do you look at as the most important performance from 2021?
Probably getting on the Ironman Coeur d'Alene podium.
Yeah.
Second at Ironman Coeur d'Alene, breaking the course record. Unfortunately, Sam Long also broke the course record, so he got me that day. But
that day was a brutal day.
Yeah, very brutal, super hot. And I think for me, I'm big Mets for a reason, right? I'm a big boy.
What? That's what I look at is those type of days are the days where a Craig Alexander, sort of the shorter guys with less mass are. But look at both you and Sam. Both persevered on really a hot day.
Yeah, I think this weekend's going to be similar in that regard, right? It's going to be nice and hot out there. It's going to be nice and humid. And I think, the old, in my opinion, misconception is that big dudes don't do well in the heat. But I think that's wrong. I think inefficient big guys do poorly in the heat.
Point.
And so I've worked on being efficient from a metabolic perspective. I know my fueling. I know my sweat rates. Taking a scientific approach to figure out exactly what I need from that department. And then I'm an efficient runner for being tall. And being runner, big. Yeah. So I know how to conserve energy and save energy in the heat. So I've done it well in dry and hot. So something like Coeur d'Alene and something like Boulder, very hot at altitude. So I'm using this as kind of like a little, whatever it is, 9 months out of or 7 months out of Kona test.
Right.
How can we do, it's a 3-hour race, totally different in terms of the duration, but the humidity and heat's going to be similar to something like Hawaii down here. So that's my goal, is to go to St. George and hopefully pick up a Kona slot and then make my Kona debut, because I kind of got that one taken away from me after the postponement.
That's right.
So, as someone who's dreamt of going to Kona for my whole life, to go to Coeur d'Alene and qualify, that was a monumental point in my life. Forget about my career. It was just such a big thing for me to tick off my life bucket list. And then, to come around to whatever it was, September, and they say, hey, we're going to have to cancel Kona and move to St. George. I'm really, really excited for St. George in its own right, but I need to go to Kona.
Of course. Well, and that's a toughie, because the reality is, I think age groupers could choose, right?
Yep.
Something like that. And
Yeah.
for you guys, if you qualified for Kona, I know Cam Worth was sort of in the same position.
Yeah.
He thought he qualified at Italy for
Right.
Kona, but it's like, no, now you qualified for St. George.
Which is okay.
St. George is still great.
St. George is going to be exceptional, and you know what? St. George, I've raced well in St. George. It's
Yes.
just like Boulder. It's super hard, and I tend to do well in the races that are more difficult.
Yeah.
When it comes to raw, pure speed and talent and horsepower and stuff like that, sometimes I get a little stuck out in those races. But the harder the race, the better I'm suited. So if it's hot, if it's hilly, if it's difficult, then that's great. So something like St. George is going to be all three of those.
Love it.
So can't wait.
Always a pleasure, my man.
Appreciate it, Bob.
I appreciate it. Justin Metzler has
Yeah.
been our guest. The Big Mets. And where do people follow you?
Yeah, at Big Mets Try on Instagram. Follow me on my website, Big Mets Try. Big Mets Try everywhere.
And if people want to find out more about Waterfall?
Yeah, check out Waterfall Racing. It's kind of a new thing that we're launching this year, kind of a global community to bring everyone in triathlon together. So we're really trying to get this team off the ground. Got some amazing pros with Andre Lopez, Rachel Olson, Tim and Rennie, my wife Jeannie, and have access to us, hang out with us.
Love it.
And we'll keep it going.
Love it. Justin Metzler
Cool.
again has been our guest. Again, Breakfast with Bob. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.